Growing organically is hard for everyone. It takes a lot of time to come up with content ideas. Then it's a big struggle to actually produce the content. And once we finally manage to publish it, we often don't get the result we were hoping for. This is where we start questioning the entire process. Maybe I'm posting on the wrong platform, maybe the algorithm hates me, maybe my editing was bad. Maybe my voice, face or accent is the problem, or the niche I chose just doesn't work anymore. Maybe I should quit altogether. While it's hard to say if some of these concerns are true, we can at least do one thing. Make sure that the content we create is actually relevant. And we can also optimize the process of creating it. So this video is a full tutorial on how to create content fast. The goal is not only to create content people actually want to consume, but also to get more than just one piece of content out of the time we spend creating it. So basically scaling content ideas to not only have one script for short form content, but up to 8, and being able to use all of them as a newsletter, blog post or long form video or several tweets. Now to demonstrate how this can be done, I'm using online poker as an example, since I started this YouTube channel trying to scale my coaching business. But as you might know, I decided it's not worth it. But to make this tutorial more practical, I'm pretending I still want to pursue just that. So the first step is to create something people actually want to read or watch. And one method I found is using ChatGPT. And I'm not talking about using AI to write our entire script, but as a sort of advanced Google Trends. So I'm using the prompt, list questions that are commonly asked by people who play poker professionally, but tend to have fewer or less detailed answers available online. Replace play poker professionally with the people you're making content for. What this does is use frequent search terms. I think ChatGPT has only access to Bing and not Google, but it should be the same thing. And then crawls through the highest ranked sites in the poker niche, trying to find if there is content answering these questions. And if there is no content, it lists the question. Now I should add, Google just announced Gemini. I assume that this will be actually better for this purpose once it's released in 2024. But regardless, AI searches for content gaps for us, and this is really what we want. Making content that is not available but people want to have it. And then we go through the list and pick whatever we can answer based on our experience. The goal is not to answer all the questions, but the ones only we can. Because we, in this case, play poker for a living. Especially in the new AI era, this aspect becomes even more important because everyone can access generic content nowadays. So on this list, question number 9, how to balance poker with personal life, stood out to me because over the years I experimented a lot with how I can optimize my days and life, frankly. Therefore I picked it and sat down and answered the question. Here's how the first text I wrote looked like. Now the process of writing for me lately is just to open Notepad. I like the minimalistic look of it, I like that it just opens right away and I don't have to wait for a few seconds like Notion or something. And I just write what comes to mind without caring about grammar, spelling, or even language sometimes. I always script in English, but sometimes I'm missing a word and I would just either make some dots if I can't come up with the right word, or I just put a German word in there. The reason I'm doing that is that I don't want to kill the flow. I'm also not caring about storytelling. Now storytelling is important and I found a pattern that works well to keep retention up. I might talk about this today or maybe this is for another video. And I'm also not caring about the hook or title. All these things come afterwards. The only thing I try to keep in mind is the length of it, because the goal is that what I'm writing can be used for a short form video. And that means it should have a length of 50 to 60 seconds talking time. For me, that's around 180 words. This varies on your talking speed, but also the language. I recently found out that German is more complex and uses longer words to describe stuff. So in German, I would have to aim for around 150 words. Now once I'm done with this raw script, I always use the same ChatGPT prompt. Check grammar, only change mistakes. The goal here is for AI to just fix the grammar but not change the way I was scripting it. I don't want to sound like a robot or have to use words I don't even know the meaning of myself. Then I copy it and I paste it into a new notepad and fix certain parts I don't like. Especially when I use terms AI doesn't understand. I have to rewrite some parts. For example, when I talk about poker, I might use a phrase like, check raise bluffing the river after donking the turn facing an overbet is minus a V. I probably fixed it incorrectly. So this is the grammar fixed version of my first short. So now it's time to start thinking about the hook and storytelling. Now, since I just wrote this text for this video as an example, I didn't do that here because I'm planning actually, to make a separate video on how to do that. The reason to spend extra effort in creating a good hook and story is obviously to increase viewer percentage and retention rate. But for now, let's pretend this is the final version with a good hook and a great story. So at this point, I've covered how to make one short, right? But the true hack, the system to fasten up the content creation process, is to add additional content from this. The core idea here is to think about what other questions the reader or viewer of this first piece of content might have, what else this person might be interested in, and then write a separate question and answer accordingly. So in this case, I came up with a question about volume. Here's the first script, and here is the grammatically correct version of that. Again, no hook or story. So now I've already created 2 shorts, and the next step would be to add a 3rd, 4th, 5th question and answer these. You get the idea. Now once I run out of questions, the scripting process is basically done. You might say, well, but then we have 6, 8, whatever number of shorts. How to create a long form piece out of this for a blog post, a long form video, or a newsletter? Well, it's quite easy. We just need to add some additional text, some transitions from one short to another, and that's really not a lot of work. So in this case, that said, how much volume should you actually aim for as a pro? Those two are really connected and really make sense to put together, right? Using this system is a transition from sitting down to script one content piece to creating up to 8 pieces for short form videos or tweets and one long form piece. Now, why am I aiming for 8 pieces? Because the average blog post length should be around 1,500 words, and with 8 pieces we kinda get there. Additionally, we can use all these short form pieces and link to our long form piece. YouTube now even has the feature to add a related video to every short, but also on other platforms we can always link to our blog or long form video. So we can create an efficient traffic flywheel. I hope after watching this video you're inspired and willing to publish more. Because one of the big struggles of anyone starting or running or scaling, growing a business is not posting enough, not having enough traffic coming in. I'm really about trying to help anyone who wants to start or scale an online business, because I strongly believe that everyone should be able to work wherever they want, whenever they want, and whatever they want. And posting content, growing organically, is just a big part of making this work. Thanks for watching. Much love.